Okay, hello. My name is Annalise Robinson, and today we're going to be talking about our integrated human performance portfolio and just kind of going over some things. So, on our agenda today, we are going to be talking about the organizational context and performance philosophy, our integrated performance system overview, measurement, analytics, and decision support, human, ethical, and legal safeguards, key strategies for insights, executive recommendations, and indicators of success. So firstly, we are going to go over our organizational context and our philosophy. Our purpose and why does this matter now? We are a platform-based global mobility company that strives to create professional ride experiences. So as Uber, we pride ourselves in creating a professional alternative to other forms of public transportation. Obviously, these services cost more money, but it is guaranteed that you are getting a very intimate, safe experience when you come into our Uber rides. We operate on dual workforce using corporate employees and independent drivers. So we do have a workforce full of corporate employees, and we do operate, with our independent drivers who are out there doing the ride sharing and all of those things like that. We have resulted to relying heavily on real-time data, and that has caused weak alignment between data and behavior. So our problem lies, as of recently, with the trust within our employment system and how they are viewing us, considering that we have been so reliant on these real-time data quos instead of using the overall purpose of a performance system to promote growth and consistent feedback as well. It has costed us to have inconsistent evaluation across the workforce. It also has exposed legal and reputational exposure if we don't get this changed immediately. And it also, like I said earlier, does have that weak alignment between data and behavior. The main message behind all of this is that the performance system is a strategic risk area, not HR admin. So we were looking to improve that. But we are looking to, like I said, with the growing rate of our competitors and of ride sharing just in general, we have to grow with the expectation of fairness and transparency, especially in, within our organization. So next we're going to talk about our performance philosophy. So what is the performance philosophy? Our performance philosophy prioritizes the relationship between statistics and human-evaluated systems. So we're looking at continuous feedback, customer-centered performance outcomes, fairness, and transparency. These major additives create new grounds for improvement and credibility across the organization. So we're looking at the efficiency of the algorithm versus the context of human judgment. Philosophy connects strategy and behavior and evaluation. So we're looking at making this more continuous, as well as prioritizing those major factors that we said earlier: the fairness, transparency, customer-centered performance outcomes, and continuous feedback. So now we're going to go into our integrated performance system. Creating one connected system at the end of the day is our goal. Like we said, we will kind of get into this also later with connecting some of these factors, but that is the main goal for this performance system, is to create it on a continuous loop of performance and not just a one and done type of thing where we kind of run into a wall, kind of how we are now. So number one, an important factor to make this happen is goal setting with KPI alignment. So goal setting with these KPI alignments make them a lot more obtainable and shows room for growth as well in the future. And like I said, we're trying to prioritize that continuous growth aspect compared to just hitting a wall and then reevaluating where to go next. Next, we have the real-time performance tracking. So having this real-time performance tracking, it gives the ability to constantly be getting feedback data-wise. We can constantly always look and see, where trends are headed, where trends are going, how trends are going for the day, especially, with Uber being so global. We can see that if it's just specific areas, if it is the driver, things like that. And then we have the continuous feedback loops. So having these continuous feedback loops is going to be really important due to the amount of drivers that we have and the constant changing of our market as a whole. So being able to help employees keep up with demand and with change and what our expectations are as a continuous growing company is going to be really important. Structured appraisal is going to be also another really important factor, just because we want it to be structured by management and based on not solely just data, but also human judgment as well, but that we want to have a fair balance between that. Then we have our development planning, that's going to be embedded in the system. So like I said earlier, with the whole continuous idea of instead of hitting a wall and having to reassess, it's going to be a continuous development going on. By integrating major factors into our performance system, it will create a continuous loop of performance enhancement. The logic behind it connects data, interpretation, feedback, development, and outcomes. So it's going to keep going in that continuous loop that we have been talking about. Next, we're going to talk about our measurement and decision support. So our main forms of measurement are going to be KPI ratings such as completion, reliability, and customer satisfaction. Those are very important measurable factors within our company and within what drivers are doing on a day-to-day basis. Then we have our leading and lagging indicators, real-time dashboards, and trend-based evaluation. So like we said, using these things to make decisions, the real-time dashboards, the leading and lagging indicators, trend-based evaluation, we can kind of get a broader concept of what is going on behind the performance of our employees as a whole using these and measuring their success using these KPI ratings as well. So the executive value on that is going to be faster decision making, earlier identification of performance risk, and alignment of behavior with business outcomes. Nextly, we're going to go into our human, ethical, and legal safeguards. So this is going to rely around bias mitigation in ratings and feedback systems, DEI trainings, psychological safety prioritized in feedback, documentation processes, and human versus AI governance. So the overall goal of implementing these safeguards for bias mitigation in rating and feedback systems, like we said earlier, one of our issues is being so data driven. There's nothing wrong with that, but our use of human judgment without bias is going to play very, very well into how we're giving out feedback. DEI trainings, I think, are essential anywhere you go in any performance-based system, anywhere, any job, any line of work. Having these DEI trainings is going to really help with the ethical and legal safeguards, especially within the workforce, going through DEI trainings, having DEI assessments, having, open reporting if there is anything that goes against, Title IX in those DEI trainings that we talk about in the workplace. Like, having that is going to be super important. Next, psychological safety prioritized in feedback. So we want to be able to give feedback in a way that doesn't target our employees in a way and say that, oh, you're doing bad or you're doing this. You can be realistic, but you can also prioritize the psychological safety and giving them a say and being like, instead of coming to them like, your performance is failing, like, okay, is there anything that I can help you with? Do you need any other resources? Is there anything going on? How can we help you? That prioritizes that psychological safety. And like we said in the beginning, one of the main goals of this performance system is to kind of mend the bridge between giving feedback and showing our dashboards as well and going off that data-driven opportunities that we have. Then the documentation process, like we said, everything, since we're looking to run on a continuous feedback system, every form of feedback needs to be documented. Every email, every meeting, every session needs to be documented by an outside HRM source to ensure fairness and transparency amongst all employees. We want to avoid having issues pop up and we don't have documentation of certain meetings or certain forms of feedback. That also, not only is it going to protect the employees, but it's going to protect our leadership as well from claims and things that might happen in escalation points, of course, too, that would also help with. So human versus AI governance, we can encourage the use of AI to analyze major forms of data and major sources of data, but at the end of the day, there needs to be some sort of governance on that as well, because that's kind of where our problem started, is being so heavily reliant on technology in a way, and those data driven, feedback sources. So we need to integrate that a little bit more with human judgment as well from leadership, and that also, we'll get into that a little bit later. So our key executive insights and strategic recommendations. First, with our key executive insights, performance data should not override human involvement. So like I said in the last slide, we really want to emphasize the use of human involvement and the involvement of our leadership, because that is what they are trained to do. We put them through training, we put them through many different scenarios and things like that. They need to be used because they, at the end of the day, they are going to be the leading factor of what helps this system up and running and keeps it continuous. Psychological safety is a performance driver. That is a known fact. Having psychological safety is going to drive numbers up in employee engagement, and that ultimately is going to lead to performance driving as well. Consistency is the biggest risk. So like we said at point 1, our leadership is going to be the main group of people keeping this running. So consistency is a huge risk if they are not delivering appropriately what they need to do. Number 4, managers are the primary guidance for the system. So like I said, we're connecting all of these dots together, but managers are going to be the most important part of the system, and they should be the guidance. They should be leading by example. They should be informing others, helping others, getting to the bottom of things before it has to go up to executive levels, like it has recently. Oh, and integration matters. Integration between so many different factors of this performance system is going to be what matters the most and what makes the difference. It has to come continuously from all parts of the system for it to work and be successful. Then we have our strategic recommendations. So implementing AI governance, that's, like I said, that's a huge thing that has to be there in order for anything to change, and to cut the use of AI completely off by embedding, integrated human judgment. Then we have to invest in our leadership. Like I was just talking about, investing in leadership is going to be a benefit for us, because leadership is essentially what's going to drive this entire performance system together and keep it going as a continuous style that we want. Use integrated performance dashboards for executives. So we will have access to these integrated performance dashboards as well, so that we can also make judgment for ourselves. And in case anything does go unnoticed, we will have the same access that everyone else does to make those decisions as well. So next, what are going to be some success indicators that this works out? So we're going to have higher trust and performance, obviously, specifically in performance ratings and just overall performance ability. Employees will have more confidence in themselves. We will have more confidence in our employees and in the way that we are moving forward. And not only that, we will have way more trust in the feedback that leadership is giving and the decisions that we are making as well. Consistent ratings. Consistent ratings is going to be a huge success indicator as well, because it'll be able to provide a consistent outlook across so many different levels by using that continuous feedback system. So we'll be able to see, dive deeper if anything goes wrong. Improve feedback quality. So like we said, using AI governance and cutting AI solely as our main form of feedback by using human judgment as well, especially from these trained leadership and managers, is going to be crucial for the success, and it's really going to be a great outcome. Employee retention. So the risk of losing employees, by prioritizing that psychological safety that we were talking about earlier, it's going to make employees feel seen. It's going to make them feel wanted for working for our organization. So that will be a huge benefit, to have high-skilled employees that have stuck around for a while as our forefront. Then lastly, alignment. Everything will start to align with data, feedback performances, overall other indicators. Like I said, those KPIs that we were talking about earlier, it's all going to align into one continuous system. So that is really a huge benefit for us. Thank you.